Live stream, Long Beach Community College District Board of Trustees meeting. This is an audio test. Audio test to the live stream. This is an audio test. Today's date, August 24th, 2022, Long Beach Community College District Board of Trustees meeting.
right. We're calling the meeting to order. It is welcome to the Long Beach Community College District Board of Trustees meeting for August 24th, 2022. This is our regular board meeting. My name is Uduak Jointuk. I'm president of the board and presiding officer. We're going to start with item 1.2 is roll call of the trustees. Secretary Reese, if we have a roll call.
Virginia Baxter.
Here.
Herlinda Chico. Vivian Malauulu.
Here.
Uduak Jointuk.
Present.
Sunny Zia.
Here.
All right, welcome. We have a quorum of the board. Moving to item 1.3, this is public comments on closed session agenda items. Do we have any public comments this evening?
None received.
None received. Okay, with that, we're going to adjourn now into closed session. We have items 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, and 1.7, and 1.8. All right, we'll reconvene in about an hour. Thank you, everybody. All right, we're reconvening the meeting. Welcome, everybody, to the Long Beach Community College District Board of Trustees meeting for August the 24th, 2022. The summer is almost gone. We are reconvening at a closed session, coming back to open session, calling to order. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll lead it tonight. So if everyone will rise, face the flag, and put your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Moving to item 2.3 on land acknowledgements. Long Beach City College acknowledges our presence on traditional ancestral land of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples. This land remains unceded territory. We acknowledge the painful history of genocide and forced removal from these territories. Long Beach City College honors and respects the Gabrielino Tongva ancestors and their connection to this land today. I'd like to ask Board Secretary Reese for a roll call of the trustees.
Virginia Baxter.
Here.
Perlinda Chico.
Present.
Vivian Malauulu.
Here.
Uduak-Joe Ntuk.
Present.
Sunny Zia.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum of the board. Also, I'd like to note that Board Counsel Ewing is out on vacation today, and Araceli Almazan is here in his place. So thank you for being with us tonight. Moving to our next agenda item on report out from closed session. We have no reportable action. We completed items 1.4, 1.5, and 1.6. We were going to have a second closed session at the end of the meeting on 1.7 and 1.8. Moving to public comments on items on the agenda tonight. Do we have any public comments?
None received.
Great. Moving to our first action item, item 2.7 is the minutes from the July 20th, 2022 regular board meeting. This is an action item. We'll need a motion and a second. Attached is a copy of the draft minutes on board docs online. Is there a motion? Motion by Trustee Zia. Is there a second? Second by Vice President Chico. Any discussion on the draft minutes? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The minutes are adopted. Moving to item 2.8, these are the minutes from the August 1st Board of Trustees retreat session number 1. Attached are copies of this. I'll need also a motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Zia, second by Trustee Baxter. Any discussion on the draft minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it, and the minutes are adopted. The last set of minutes is item 2.9, is minutes from August 2nd, 2022 special board meeting. This was the second day of the retreat session. This is also an action item. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Zia, second by Trustee Baxter. Any discussion on the draft minutes? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, and the minutes are adopted. Moving to item 2.10, this is an opportunity to reorder anything on the agenda that we haven't met yet. You need to make a motion or anything, or anybody having time constraints tonight? All right, and seeing and hearing none, we're going to move into Section 3, resolutions. We do not have any resolutions tonight. Section 4 is standing reports. Our first report is from our ASB president, but I think it's still summertime, and we don't, or do we have? Oops, my apologies. Welcome. Please introduce yourself, and you have 5 minutes.
Yes, sir. My name is Alana Jolivet, and I'll be your incoming ASB president for 2023. So it's nice to meet you guys. I'm originally from Long Beach, California, so I was born actually just down the street at Long Beach Memorial. I attended Wilson High School, where I graduated and then continued on to the U.S. Air Force, where I served active duty over at Hill Air Force Base, Utah, for 4 years. And I met my husband there as well, and came back a wife and a mother of one. So yeah, I have a little one at home. She's gonna be 2 soon. So I'm enjoying the love of parenthood pretty much. I currently work as an HR manager at a popular law firm. So that's kind of a little bit about me, being that I haven't been able to meet up with you guys personally just yet. And then as far as ASB, obviously the school year hasn't started yet, but we do have some things in the works. We are currently going to finalize our September or ASB budget for 2022 on September 12th. And then we're actively recruiting and letting a rolling application happen for the cabinet. It should be filled within the first 2 to 3 weeks of the school semester. And then that's pretty much it for you guys. I'm sorry, I don't have much going on at this point, but when I do have something good, I'll be sure to report it to you guys. And I'm looking forward to spending college day with you as well. So,
Well, congratulations and welcome. We
Thank
look
you,
forward to
sir.
working with you and spending Wednesday evenings once a month together.
absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of meetings that Ava handed over to me, and she told me that everybody here was honestly a joy to work with. So that made me look forward to it, definitely.
Great. Since we have a few more minutes, I don't know if
Yeah,
any trustees
absolutely.
want to introduce themselves
Yeah.
and say hello. Vice President Chico?
First, welcome and congratulations. This is a huge responsibility, and your background, it seems like you're completely prepared for it. It's like we continue to step it up with our ASB presidents and our student trustees. It's fantastic. I also want to thank you for your service.
Thank you for your support.
Yeah, and I also am really happy to hear that you do have those roles as a wife and mother, because it's really important that we have those perspectives here on campus as well. So I really appreciate you stepping up in this leadership role, and I'm excited to work with you.
Thank you.
Trustee Zia?
Yes, I also wanted to welcome you. How amazing. It's so great that you have this wonderful background. I look forward to working with you and getting to know you, and mad respect being a mother of a
I'm making it happen at this point. So
and you're
absolutely,
doing
thank
all of
you.
this work, so mazel tov. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Trustee Baxter?
Hi, good evening. I'm going to ask a silly thing. Is your name Alana?
Yes, first name
Okay.
Alana, last name Jolivet.
Okay, A-L-A-N-A.
Yes,
Okay.
A-L-A-N-N-A. I know, the extra N.
Oh, okay. Nice to meet you. I used to be in student activities, so it's a very important role on campus, and I'm glad that you stepped up and ran for election, and welcome, and we're pleased to have you.
Thank you so much.
Well, if all of my colleagues say it, I would look really bad if I don't. But I was going to say it anyway. Welcome. Congratulations. Happy to have you. Look forward to working with you and getting to know you better.
Thank you.
And just echo my colleague's sentiment, welcome.
Yes, sir.
When I was a student, I was also a parent and very interested. This is one of our areas that we're interested in improving and making sure we're doing a good job. So please let us know throughout the year of how our services or other things we could do better.
Honestly, I've been amazed. Coming back to LBCC, I actually attended right after high school, before I decided to join the military. And having the experience from 4 years ago versus now is like day and night. It is absolutely insane how people are receiving education, how people look at education, all of it put together. And I think having a different perspective now as well, you have different things to motivate you. And I would say I'm definitely there, and I'm 100% motivated at this point.
Awesome. And hopefully you have an opportunity to meet with Dr. Munoz and Vice President Corral about opportunities and different things that are
Yes,
happening.
sir,
And
absolutely.
Our last ASB president was like the star of all of our videos.
Oh my goodness.
You know, so there
Yeah,
may be
Ava and I have been
opportunities.
working very closely, and she's told me nothing but good things. So
Awesome. Well, welcome, congratulations, and look
Thank you,
forward to
sir.
working with you.
thank you. I have 40 seconds on the clock, so.
Right on time. We'll move next to our student trustee report, which we do not have a student trustee yet. The election is still pending once the students return back. Fall semester, which starts at the end of the month or after Labor Day. Did the semester start?
Actually, the student trustee election is going to be a special election, and I think it should be held the third week of the semester.
Okay, so probably by October, then we'll have somebody. Okay, we're moving to 4.3, Academic Senate President's Report for 5 minutes. Suman.
Good evening, Board President Intuk and Superintendent President Munoz and distinguished board members and colleagues. We are here. It is the beginning of the semester. On Friday, we have College Day, our first one in person in 2 years. I think that the theme is one that is a great choice of reconnecting and reigniting, because that's what we're going to be doing. And I wholeheartedly look forward to seeing the many faces of my colleagues on campus. I want to also congratulate Alana on her ASB presidency. I too wanted to say that it's amazing to have a parent in this role. 1 in 4 students in college is a parent, and I'm very happy to see you have that perspective. And I look forward to working with you this year. I want to congratulate Dr. Frank Perez on his new position as our first ever Labor Center Coordinator. Dr. Perez is also our first ever Ethnic Studies faculty member, and he's going to be starting his 2nd year as a faculty member. So I just can't say enough about the new faculty members that continue to join us here on this campus, and how excited they are to jump in and just get connected and start doing things with us on campus. Our 37 new faculty members had their new faculty orientation last week. They are a diverse group and will be joining us at the next board meeting to introduce themselves. So some updates. Curriculum. We're working on a trauma studies degree and trauma-informed pedagogy certificate within the psychology department. The following courses are in the works and may be ready by the end of summer, but we'll see. Intro to African American Studies, Intro to Chicano Studies, Intro to Labor Studies, and a history of social movements and labor. A cultural curriculum audit. We had that, as I stated in our July meeting. It was called the first ever second audit for those who had participated in the first audit, and it was titled Roundtable on Sustaining Our Equity Practices under the leadership of Priscilla Bravo Arias and Michael Robertson. The faculty read 2 books focused on social justice, culturally sustaining pedagogies. They even were assigned, with the readings, they took a lot of time to discuss and dialogue about what they've learned and what they feel. Guest speakers ranged from equitable grading to trauma-informed pedagogy to OER. Faculty dialogued, had group activities, they reflected on grading practices and values. They even questioned their own teaching philosophies and what they can do better to support all of our students. They learned about OER and how to incorporate it in their classes, the value that it brings to our students, and make more education more equitable. They also learned about creating our own textbook and their own textbook, and how to continue practice culturally sustaining pedagogy. We hope to continue to offer the roundtable during the summer and offer the original audit during the winter time. We want to offer resources to faculty wherever they are on their equity journey. And we continue to meet with other colleges who keep reaching out, y'all, okay? And I know I say y'all a lot now. But they're reaching out to us a lot about wanting to know what we're doing here with our cultural curriculum and audit. So we are continuing to let other institutions across the state know the work that we're doing here with the audit. The fall semester will continue to work with the QFE, the IE, and create a plan on how to analyze the impact of what the audit has been on our faculty and their teaching practices. Priscilla interviewed with the LA Times this past week. They're writing a story on students taking classes online at various community colleges, and they wanted to learn about the audit. So if and when it's published, that article, I'm sure Stacy will let us know, and we will make sure that you all get to see that Long Beach City College might be highlighted in the LA Times because of the audit. Student learning outcomes. Last spring, the accreditation peer review team reviewed 50 random LBCC course syllabi, and they found that many of them were either missing or had inaccurate SLOs. So we talked about this at the last board meeting, but we created an entire process to look at how we can make sure that everyone's SLOs are included in their syllabi. And I want to really thank Michael Robertson and Tricia Wilging for all their hard work on this. We're really carefully tracking the new approach, and we'll send a follow-up report to ACCJC in spring of 2023. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. It's great to hear all the great things that are coming. Moving to item 4.4, Classified Senate President's Report for 5 minutes. Cece.
I need to test the microphone. How's that? Thanks. Hello, everyone. We're excited about the fall semester, and we are looking forward to the continuation of working on all the initiatives that we're going to be working on, especially public safety framework and everything else that we're going to be continuing to do with participatory governance. We are very glad to hear the news that we are doing everything we can to provide food for students starting next week, and the plans sound really creative and innovative. And I think it's going to be actually fun for students to avail themselves of a lot of those. I want to make sure that you look at agenda item 816, so that you look at the classified report. and there's quite a number of new people, a lot of people working out of class with great opportunities. And on the resignation list, technically, one of the members, Sarah Saucedo, it says resignation, but she's resigning because she's becoming a full-time faculty member in COS, which is pretty exciting. And so we are also really looking forward to College Day, and we're really grateful that the decision was made to close operations, which I'm trying to find out, but I don't think it's ever happened before in the past, and we're just really grateful for that. I think there's going to be a lot more people there that normally would not be there, and we want to concentrate on so many new wonderful people, faculty, staff, and managers, and meet them and get to know them. We're very excited about that. So I have a presentation that Dario is going to put up on the screen. So this is, we had a photo shoot with the wonderful photographer Jerome Thomas, and this is the classified Senate members past and present at the time, so it was like in May or early June. And we don't know how we feel about those blue shirts, but that is what we ordered, and that is what we got. And Dr. Munoz was joining us on our what do you call it, photo shoot. Okay, next slide. So last week we had our annual retreat. We've been having it for many years. We've had, the last two were virtual, obviously, and we've always had it off campus. And this year we had it at the LBCC Horticulture Garden, which was quite lovely. And Jorge Ochoa from Horticulture was quite gracious and helpful in helping us set it up. And we had some students there that were helping us as well. So next slide. Two of our council members were able to go out into the garden ahead of time and pick flowers for the centerpieces, and they were very excited about that. Next slide. And that's just the table by the gazebo where everybody was greeted. And then next slide. And so you saw the first group with the blue t-shirts. This is not the entire group, but that's a pretty awesome photo, I think, out in the garden. So we got a lot done, but we had a lot of team building and fun activities, as well as, meat and potatoes type of things. And it was really wonderful. Next slide. So upcoming are our Wellness Wednesdays, our famous Wellness Wednesdays we've had for the past 2 or 3 years. So next slide. These are going to be on the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of every month as usual. We changed the time to 1:30, and we do a lot of different things. And what we're really excited about this year is we've had some outside people, but it's mostly been just classified doing different things over the years. Like I taught a drawing workshop, and we had, meditation, a lot of really great programs by Amy Law over the years that were very wonderful. But next slide. What we're doing now is we're partnering with Kinesiology and Athletics with Randy Tutorp, and we have some people, for the fall at least, doing some expert type people doing the following things that you see: easy desk yoga, breath work, how did your garden grow, and then this is not with kinesiology, but then one on October for Welcome to LBCC New Classified. And we have some other pretty exciting partnerships going on with kinesiology and athletics in the works for the fall that you're going to be hearing about later. Next slide. Okay, so this is my last thing. Our classified hero of the month is Jessica Legault, who is the AAA from counseling. And I like to read these out loud to get them into the record. So her hero status is AAA, counseling is her team. Superpowers are strong work ethic, grade A leadership skills, and dauntless problem solver. And the person who nominated her, this is what they wrote: Jessica is both a team leader and a team player. These past 2 years, she has been instrumental in keeping our school and department afloat. She covers it all, from masks to midgets. I do not know what that means. We appreciate her so much. I don't know what that means. And then what Jessica wrote in response was, the best part of working at LBCC is seeing students progress in their time with us. I see many people come in new and overwhelmed as they start, and to be able to support their needs and watch their confidence grow as they progress through their goals with us fills my heart on a daily basis. So looking forward to walking up to Jessica and congratulating her on College Day, hopefully. And that is the end of my report. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cece. It looked like it was mass the budget on one versus midget. At least on one of them. It was somebody copied and pasted it wrong, or spell check auto-corrected it. But it's great to highlight. Thank you so much for the presentation. Great to see the pictures and the slides. We'll now go to item 4.5, LBCCFA, Bargaining President's Report for 5 minutes. Suzanne.
Good evening, everyone. Good to see you on this last summer Board of Trustee meeting of the summer. My report is very short. I just want to say, what a summer. I need a break, right? Because as faculty, we have two classifications, a 177-day employee and a 197-day employee. And one of my biggest challenges in coming back in the fall is not to say to my colleagues, what did you do over the summer? Because they're like, I've been here working. Well, as FA president, I have seen that I thought after COVID, things were going to slow down a little bit. I think we all did, right? But no, there are so many moving pieces because of, we're people, right? If life would be good if there weren't so many people here. So I just want to share that because this is something that, as I bring this up is as FA union representation and reassign time. Those reassign times are for fall and spring. I mean, and typically stipends may try to cover work in the winter and the summers. And I, on my own, agreed, right, that through this time during the summer, even though I'm off contract, I have to support my faculty, right? I have to be there. I want to be there because there's such a great need. And as you all know, as you're there advocating for the faculty and the employees, you know that that's just year-round and things come up like incredible. So I just wanted to share that, not necessarily to complain, but just to commiserate with all of you and let you know that it has been an interesting summer. So I will be, again, trying to address ways to help compensate, because I won't always be in this role. And so I'm thinking forward. How do I try to do something to advocate forward for fellow future FA presidents or grievance chairs and communication chairs and those that throughout the year, these items are still needed in a financial way. So I just wanted to share that today. I didn't know if I was going to make it or not, but I did. It's always good to see your faces. I'm excited about our new faculty that are here. And I also want to, in that 37, and correct me if I'm wrong, because there was originally 40, but I think we're at 37. And one of them is an actual employee that's already here and tenured, but they moved over to another department that satisfied one of the hirings. And then one of them was a long-term employee last year, and now they got hired, which is great because sometimes long-term employees come into that. So even though they're all brand new, and then many of them were part-time, as we just heard with Sarah, but so many other ones, well, she was a AAA, right? But many of these are part-timers, so a lot of them have a lot of experience. And then some come from other schools, so they're so diverse. And so sometimes when we look at these lists, I think it's important to know, kind of a little bit more about them. So one of our new hires who transferred from one department to another won't be going through the College Culture Friday because they've been here forever. They know they've been all that. And then our long-term sub, because when you're a long-term sub, you're not a FA, you're not part of FA or you're not a full-time faculty. And so they're long-term sub, but when they come over and get hired, they get credit for that year. So they'll be placed as a second year, but they'll still go through the College Culture Friday because even though they've been here a year, all that knowledge that they get from College Culture Friday benefits any faculty member. There's still some of us faculty members that wish we could go through it again because of what they get to learn. So I just wanted to share that with you. And next month, we're going to have, you're going to get to meet all of them. And then, that's it. So I thank you for your time. It's good to see you again, and we'll talk to you all later. Oh, Alana, welcome.
Awesome, thank you. Moving to item 4.6, AFT Bargaining President's Report for 5 minutes. Robert.
Good evening, President Intak, Mike, and the rest of the wonderful board and all the new members. Since you were here last month, it's not old school now. You're all here and ready to go. We're looking forward to the new semester. Welcome back. So anyway, I want to start out with saying that the classified professionals have been working really hard, and we're preparing the campus for a fantastic spring semester. We're doing everything in our power to create a learning environment for our students. I don't know what else we can do. We've been really working hard to get it ready. I mean, everyone knows this semester means a lot to everybody because the numbers need to come back up. We need to get enrollment up. Everybody in the A&R and all the other departments are working real hard to make sure that happens. So I kind of think it's all managed, this problem now, not classified. So, you know, you could have anyone look around, just look around on the diocese. It's all them, not us, because we've done everything we can possibly do to help those numbers out. Again, I want to thank you for that raise. We really needed it and we really appreciated it, and the stipend. But I get a lot of flack from people, not flack, questions that I'm going to pass on to you, since after I have about 500 of them, it's time for you to hear them. So they're kind of wondering, you know, we really appreciate getting the raise in July, but the stipend, we'd kind of like to know when we're going to get it. We'd like it this summer. So it's kind of, you know, the people are, you offer them something and they get it, and then they're kind of like spent it, and now they're kind of wondering when they get the money. So it would be really helpful for me especially, so I don't have to say it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. I'm getting tired of it's coming. So if you could help out with that direction, I would truly appreciate that, and so would all the classified, because that's the number one answer or question I get from everybody. When's my check coming? Because we already spent it. Anyway. I work with the College Day Planning Committee. I am looking forward to this. The committee was awesome. They put up a wonderful thing to get us all back together to meet and greet and have a great day. So I want you all to come and have a good time, and all those classified faculty, management, and FA that are coming, and our hourly people and part-time people. It should be an amazing day. It looks amazing. I hope it turns out to be just as amazing. Thank you all for your time. I truly appreciate it, and have a great night.
Thank you, Robert. And we will follow up on that disbursement date. We will follow up. Moving to item 4.7, this is the CHI bargaining president's report for 5 minutes. Do we have a representative tonight? Seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to our next item, is Superintendent President's report with Dr. Munoz for 10 minutes. Dr. Munoz?
Thank you, Board President Intak. Good evening, everyone. Members of the Board of Trustees, esteemed colleagues, campus community members. I hope you've been enjoying your summer. LBCC has been just as busy as ever this past month, despite it being known as a summer break. I think Suzanne did a good job at acknowledging that many of us are here all year long, working hard, getting the campus ready to welcome our students next Monday. So let's begin with some notable celebrations since we last met. So if we can go to the next slide, Dario. Actually, no, just kidding. I thought there was a different slide for that. I apologize. Let me start with some notable celebrations. So the awards keep rolling in. The Metropolitan Los Angeles branch of the American Society of Civil Engineers recognized our new Kinesiology Labs and Aquatics Center with the 2022 Architectural Engineering Award. Again, a big thank you and shout out to our amazing team that made that happen. I want to acknowledge Walter and his team in facilities, John DeWong and our amazing folks from Cordoba, as well as the leadership from the Kinesiology Lab and Aquatics Department. I know Randy played a big role, Dean Tutor played a big role in the design and feedback. So again, thank you for that. Our SBDC team met in the Sean Lumaki Innovation Center to celebrate the latest Black Business Strategies cohort. This was also the first opportunity for the 42 Black small businesses that have gone through the BBS program to meet in person. We also kicked off our Phoenix Scholars Program. This is our new initiative in partnership with USC's Rossier School of Education, and it will promote and support higher education efforts for gang-associated youth in the greater Long Beach area. Now we can start our slide, Dario. Sorry about that. LBCC partnered with the Los Angeles County and the City of Long Beach in late July to host a food distribution event at PCC. We are happy to report that approximately 700 families stopped by our campus to receive food assistance. Earlier this month, we had receptions at both PCC and LAC to welcome the newest members of our executive team. I was delighted to see so many people attending as we got to know more about our new vice presidents, Dr. Chip Wist, Dr. Alicia Kirkwood, and Melissa Fusino. We were proud to host Central Cha's 2022 Education and Workforce Development Roundtable at the Pacific Coast campus. The roundtable presented a brief overview of data in 2 priority areas, economic inclusion and education in Long Beach's Latinx community. Last week, we hosted author Rafael Agustin, author of Illegally Yours, a memoir, at an event in the auditorium. I had the pleasure of leading a discussion of his book with more than 500 students who were part of our Viking Summer Voyage program, who had read their book as part of the curriculum. I can tell you it was a really outstanding event. I think it was the first time I saw that many students in the auditorium holding up the book. We had microphones on both sides of the aisle, and the students came up, and it was like nonstop questions. It was such a rich dialogue. And so just, a little bit about Rafael. Not only is he an Emmy Award-winning author, but he was one of the lead writers on the show Jane the Virgin. And obviously that show resonates a lot with many of our students at Long Beach City College, so it was a really great experience for them. And I should mention he was also a community college graduate. Not from Long Beach City College, but still nonetheless Mount Sac, so proud community college student. Welcome days for the first year experience students. We held welcome days for incoming students on August 17th and August 18th, which gave a great LBCC introduction to more than 508 first year Vikings, as well as orientations for both of our 37 new faculty members and our incoming adjunct faculty. These events were a perfect way to kick off the upcoming semester. We are also in the midst of our fall marketing blitz to make sure that you can't miss us and the opportunity to sign up for classes this semester. By now, you should have received our postcard about fall semester. Perhaps you've driven by some of our billboards or Long Beach Transit bus tails or under the Carson Street overpass, or visited a community event such as the Long Beach Jazz Festival, National Night Out, and concerts in the park. Or maybe you've been sitting in a Long Beach movie theater and viewed this new video.
To take the next step with Long Beach City College? Step onto campus and into higher education. Build your skills with real-world career training. Get in the game at our new sports complex and step across the stage for your degree. Long Beach City College, what's your next step? Enroll today at lbcc.edu.
I haven't been to a movie theater in a couple years, but I had to go because I wanted to see the video play. So that's obviously, again, big kudos and shout out to the marketing team and all the efforts that they put forward to really help increase enrollment during this period. So as you know, drum roll, Friday is College Day 2022. We're looking forward to College Day that will take place this Friday. I'm truly ecstatic about being back in person at LAC. It's the first in-person college day in 3 years. We're going to be welcoming back faculty, and we prepare all of our employees for the upcoming academic year. We have some games and exercises to take a closer look at our strategic plan. This year's theme is Reconnect and Reignite, and so we've been very intentional about that theme. So it's not going to just be the traditional talking heads kind of event. It's intended to be interactive, dynamic. We, in large part, in feedback from Suman and Cece, who are part of the tri-chairs, it would have been very easy for us to just go into the auditorium and do kind of the traditional lecture style experience. And folks really felt like after being apart for 3 years, we want connection. And so we will be having it outdoors in round tables, so there's that intimacy and opportunity to reconnect and reignite. So again, thank you for the suggestion. So again, we hope to see everyone at College Day on Friday, and it's going to be a big success. So with that said, we'll be celebrating the first day of the semester on August 29th. So here we go, and go Vikings!
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Munoz. Great report. Do want to recognize two future Vikings that are here with us tonight. Corinne Thrashentook and Justice Thrashentook are with us. They wanted to say hello to everybody. We're waving at you. And my beautiful wife, Tanu, is here as well. Just got done with soccer practice across the street. All right, we're moving to item 6, presentations. We have one item, 6.1, emergency conditions allowance for 22-23. This is a 15-minute presentation from Dr. West, and we'll have an opportunity for trustees to ask questions afterwards. And I think we have it queued up. Dr. West.
Hopefully this will be a lot less than 15 minutes. Right now we have emergency conditions is on our agenda today to be approved on 12.1. This is a little background for you. This allowance you've seen before. It was provided by Title V in case of emergencies. As we all know, the impact of COVID was deemed a qualifying emergency. The pandemic did result in significant declines, as everyone knows, across the state. And since FTS is the most significant metric for the student-centered funding formula and apportionment revenue, it was deemed an emergency condition. Chancellor's Office has approved this allowance for the past 2 years, but this year, in fiscal year 22-23, they put in a couple of new requirements to be eligible for the allowance. Next slide. 2 of those conditions are that we need to submit an emergency condition recovery plan. Again, that's item 12.1 on your agenda today. It must be adopted and approved by the Board of Trustees. And we also must submit certification confirming the district meets the specific eligibility requirements included within that plan, that emergency conditions plan. For your reference, just questions about funding. If you look at moving forward without the allowance, which again you have in the past. Last year it was approximately $9.6 million, $9.7 million increase moving forward with the emergency allowance. And this year our estimates are it'll be approximately $13 million, just short of that $1 million additional revenue, apportionment revenue for the college. That concludes the presentation, and happy to take any questions.
Great, thank you, Dr. West. Any questions from any of the trustees? All right, great presentation, no questions. And attached to the board docs is a copy of the presentation if anyone in the public would like to view it. Moving to item 7, 7.1 is resolution authorizing teleconference open meetings pursuant to AB 361. This is the same resolution we've adopted every month for the last 8 months now. It's August, 8 months, that allows, if we need to, we can have a virtual meeting if the pandemic conditions change. This is an action item. We'll need a motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Chico.
Second.
Second by Trustee Baxter. Any discussion on the resolution? Attached is a draft copy online. Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Moving to item 7.2, this is approval of board goals 2022-2023. This is an action item. It's recommended the Board of Trustees approve the goals for 22-23 as submitted. As from Superintendent Dr. Munoz will lead a discussion on board goals. And we did talk about this at our retreat earlier this month. But let's take a motion and a second before any discussion.
So move.
Second.
I had a motion by Trustee Baxter, and I had a tie on it. I'll go to Vice President Chico for the second. Dr. Munoz, any discussion on the attached board goals? Oop, you're muted.
So thank you. As you mentioned, we did have a robust discussion as part of the board retreat, and so feedback was taken, and so this is an opportunity to just kind of really codify the discussion that took place at the board retreat. Again, there was no feedback to change the goals because we had adopted them not too long ago. But again, that feedback was important. So for accreditation purposes, we want to make sure that we're establishing a historical record of the board reviewing on an annual basis their board goals and making any changes as needed.
Excellent. Any further discussion or questions? Great. Let's take a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? Ayes have it, and the board goals are adopted. Moving to item 7.3, this is 2023 board meeting schedule. This is also an action item, and it's a recommendation that the Board of Trustees adopt our monthly meetings. It's either typically on the second or fourth Wednesdays of each month, unless noted with an asterisk. This is an action item. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Zia.
Second.
Second by Vice President Chico. Any discussion on the dates for next year? All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it, and the schedule is adopted. Moving to item 7.4, this is proposed LBCC board protocols. This is an action item. Attached is a copy of the document. It's recommended the board trustees approve the list of board protocols as submitted in response to the LBCC Board of Trustees' interest in establishing guidelines for board protocol and efficient meetings. A list of protocols were presented at the August 1st board retreat session for discussion. The proposed protocols were updated pursuant to board feedback on the August 1st meeting and submitted for approval. This is an action item. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Vice President Chico, second by Trustee Baxter. Any discussion on the board rules and additional protocols? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it, and the protocols are adopted. Moving to Section 8 is the consent agenda. These are items to be all voted together. 8.1 is an opportunity any item may be removed from the consent agenda or for consideration separately if a member of the Board of Trustees requests. Any requests on the consent agenda?
President Intuk, I have 2 items I'd like to pull. Item 8.6 and item 8.10.
8.6 and 8.10. Do you plan to abstain from any of those?
I'm sorry?
Do you plan to abstain from any of those?
On those 2 items, no.
Any other items? And for Secretary Reese, 8.6 is contract awards. And then 8.10, ratification of contracts equal to or under $200,000. Be able to get those? All right, we'll move to 8.2. This is approval of the consent agenda. All items listed on agenda will be acted upon with one motion to approve, except for the 2 items, 8.6 and 8.10. And I'll need a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Zia, second by Trustee Baxter. Any discussion on the remaining consent agenda items? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it, and the consent agenda is adopted, except for the 2 items. Moving to item 8.6, this is contract awards. We have 1 item. This is an action item. It's recommended the Board of Trustees authorize Vice President of Business Services or designee to enter into and execute a contract award as submitted. Contract number 99809.4 with Morgan Stanley Smith Barney LLC through its Greystone Consulting Business Unit effective June 1st, 2022 through May 31st, 2027. A total contract amount not to exceed $850,000. There's additional information there about the RFP, and I'll need a motion and a second to move forward.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Trustee Zia, seconded by Trustee Baxter. Any discussion on this item?
I have a question.
Trustee Zia.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank staff for answering a few questions I had, and it's my understanding it's being provided for the members of the public who are here and anyone who wants to get a copy of them upon inspection subsequently, and they're provided in the back. Is that right, Secretary Reese? Thank you. So just a couple of questions I had is, one of the things that is, it's a little bit inscrutable to me is the value of the contract, $850,000. And I mean, I would have appreciated if we could have had a presentation for this substantive level of contract for something this large and a $30 million gift. So that's just one point of information. But how was the $850,000 not to exceed value for the contract deemed to be fair and reasonable? And what are some of the internal controls and assurances that staff can give that this is not going to grow further? And then lastly, what is the makeup of this firm? I mean, this is pertaining to equity and diversity, and I understand the financial sector is pretty monolithic on this as far as demographics is concerned, but I'm just wondering, do we have any representation on this firm, and if so, was that factored in as a part of the criteria of having being considered? I appreciate staff being so great in providing the litany of the criteria considered, but I'd certainly like to know those two touch points, and then what's their background in managing funds at this magnitude for other districts and colleges. If they can, you guys can, if the staff could touch on that, and name other districts that they've had experience with, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Dr. Munoz, before we go into answering those questions, many of that sounds like operational items beyond the scope of the board, and I do have a copy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages of questions and responses that were provided. Is it fair to say what is being inquired here is beyond the scope of what the board?
So typically, obviously, as you mentioned, the board operates at a policy level. And so, and that's outlined by our accreditation standards. And so usually we don't get into the operations of the organization, and that is the purpose of kind of those accreditation guidelines and standards, is to kind of really clearly establish the role of the trustees. Obviously, as a superintendent president and executive team, when questions are asked, we do, our best to provide a written response or, gather that information. But yes, I think there is definitely, comes a point where, the questions, if they persist and continue, they can begin to move into the operations of the organization.
So
Thank you
does
so
that
much,
mean you
Doc.
can't answer it? Is that what you're getting at, President Intuk? Because I got to know what I'm voting on.
This is your first warning. You're being disruptive of the meeting. You were not called on. The staff was responding, and you will have to wait your turn like everyone else. So Dr. Munoz was responding.
I hadn't finished my comments, thank you.
Of the questions asked versus what's already been submitted and written in response, is there any questions that are different that you would like to respond to?
At this time, I feel that many of the questions that Trustee Zia asked were provided to her in writing. We did receive, I think the questions came in this morning, and staff worked diligently to provide her with responses to some of her questions regarding the basis of selection, the diversity and makeup of the firm, the basis for the contract in terms of why it was valued at $850,000. And so that information was provided, yes, in writing.
you.
And as Trustee Zia mentioned, there's copies provided in the back for folks that may want to.
Thank you. Let's go to Trustee Baxter.
Yes, thank you. I have questions that were not asked by Trustee Zia, so I hope that I have an answer. First of all, I think Greystone is misspelled. I think it's G-R-E-Y, but because when I looked on the internet, I typed in G-R-E-Y and it came up. Maybe they spelled their name two ways, I don't know. Anyway, they're a very reputable firm, so I'm confident in voting in favor, but I have two questions, and if you choose that you should not answer them, go right ahead. The first thing is, what is there, well, let me preface this. This is, and when I say only $850,000, that's a very small portion of $20 million. So I was kind of surprised that a contract would be awarded for, in the big scope of things, I know I don't have $850,000, but in the big scope of things, that's not even 5% of the corpus. That being said, and you'll understand why, if you can answer, what is their fee schedule? Because normally, with the Long Beach City College Foundation, we invested funds, and normally, if you invest $1 million or more, you get a lower fee, so you're actually making more money. So I wondered if you can answer me, what is their fee schedule for $850,000? Because trust me, there will be a fee. And then the second thing is, how often are they required to report? Do they with the foundation, we require quarterly reports. And so those are my two questions, if they can be answered.
Sure. Apologize. So I'm going to ask Vice President West to see if he has that information readily available. If not, we probably can get the questions answered for you. There would be an opportunity.
It's my fault for not asking ahead of time,
okay.
sorry.
And we don't mind doing the research and getting back and providing the entire board with responses. So we might not be able to answer everything in this moment, but we'll definitely be able to provide the board with a written response.
Yes, we can pull that information, especially with regards to the fee schedule. I don't have that. I mean, it is a 5-year agreement that is monthly, that is outlined in the packet that you have. Again, it's just an estimate of fees at this point, and one of the criteria for selection of the firm was the competitiveness of that field. So we really, that was an important component when they were selected, and but we can get that information for you, absolutely.
And what's going to happen to the other 19,150,000? I'm not good at math.
Go ahead. Did you want to? Well, the rest of it in previous, I believe in previous board meetings, you've separated that money out into multiple accounts. A portion of that money is being reinvested. A portion of it went to the foundation, and then there's a portion set aside for innovation programs within the district. I think it's $2 million, $5 million, and go ahead.
So again, just to kind of reiterate to Dr. West's point, of the 30 million, 20 million is being invested. 5 million was transferred to the foundation to establish an endowment for some scholarship supports or other student supports, and 5 million has been allocated to support institutional priorities and campus innovation.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Vice President Chico?
I don't like to get into the weeds about a lot of these things, and we're not really supposed to. But what I find inscrutable is that there was a request that Secretary Reese was asked to make 50 copies of this 6 pages of an email thread for the board meeting when I see staff in here. I think that's a waste of resources, so maybe we can be a little bit more conservative in anticipating the number of public we're going to have here. I don't even remember the last time we had 50 members of the public here, so I do think that it should be available to the public, but I just think that that's a waste of resources, and I don't like to get into those, into the weeds there, but if we're talking about saving resources, we may want to look at that. Thanks.
So just as a point of clarification, Vice President Chico, we actually only made 10 copies because we anticipated that we would not have a high attendance, being that we're off contract this month. So we did try to anticipate that. So we do have copies in the back. But like I said, when Michelle and I had kind of looked at the request, we landed on 10 just so that we would be thoughtful about that. But obviously once the semester starts and we do have more people in attendance,
sure,
we would try to adjust the number to meet kind of the demand.
I appreciate your thoughtfulness in that. Thank you.
All right. With that, let's take a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. The contract is awarded. Moving to item 810, this is ratification of contracts equal to and under $200,000. This is a recommendation the Board of Trustees ratify contracts issued equal to and under $200,000 during the period of June 30th, 2022 through August 4th, 2022 as submitted. There are copies of each contract on our board docs in PDF format for the public to view. This is an action item. We need a motion and a second to advance.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Baxter, second by Vice President Chico. Any discussion on the item? Trustee Zia, and then we'll go to Trustee Baxter after.
Yeah. Who was first?
You guys both kind of went the same, but she was faster.
I just did.
She was faster. She wants to go first. Go ahead, Trustee Zia.
I don't have to go first. I can wait.
Oh.
No, go ahead. I didn't hear you.
Yeah.
So I want to look at this contract number 99811.3 with End Homelessness California DBA, the Shower of Hope, for $85,000, the amendment. First of all, I want to commend staff for really being intentional about direct support services for our students. I did submit my questions. I'm not sure if they were in the printouts. I didn't see it provided to the board, but can Superintendent President, can you please elucidate how many students this will help this $85,000, and also what it covers as far as the support services goes. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate you putting this on the docket.
Thank you, Trustee Zia. So this particular contract will provide a housing support for 12 students and a full-time on-site residential advisor, so it'll be a total of 13 individuals. The house would be exclusively dedicated to Long Beach City College students, so that was part of the incentive to enter into this agreement with Showers of Hope. I've personally visited the facility myself. I've had dinner with the students in the home, and so I can attest to the quality of the living conditions as well as the comprehensiveness of the model. The Showers of Hope is not just providing housing, but there's case management, comprehensive connections and supports with career counseling, mental health services, case management with our basic needs center here on campus. And so if you have additional questions, I can defer to Dr. Corral to talk a little bit more specifically. But it is, I think it is important that we recognize that it's not enough to just provide students with housing vouchers or rental assistance, that really many of our students benefit most from a comprehensive model of support.
And how many students?
So this particular housing partnership will serve 12 students and one residential advisor.
Thank you.
Trustee Baxter, you ready?
No, you know, I don't know how to read because
That is not true.
I looked at the wrong thing and I wanted to ask about the Upward Bound program, which is the wrong thing. So I do not have a question.
All right. Any further discussion on the contracts under $200,000? Seeing and hearing none, we'll take a vote. We have a motion second. Motion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Ayes have it, and the contracts are adopted. Moving now to Section 9, Human Resources. We have no items. Moving to Academic Senate, Section 10, no items. Academic Affairs, 11.1, no items. Oh, what's going on tonight? Section 12, we have Emergency Condition Recovery Plan under Administrative Business Services. This is an action item. It's recommended the Board of Trustees approve the Emergency Condition Recovery Plan as submitted. The State Chancellor's Office is providing COVID-19 emergency conditions allowances for 1 more year in 2022-23. Title V provides the State Chancellor authority to hold district's FTES stable at a level reported prior to the occurrence of the emergency. To the purposes to prevent loss of FTE apportionment funding as a result of the emergency or extraordinary funding condition. And I believe we just had a presentation from Dr. West on this, and nobody had any questions. And so this is now the implementation of that presentation. This is an action item. We'll need a motion and a second to advance.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Baxter. Second by Trustee Malauulu. Any discussion on the recovery plan? Seeing and hearing none, we'll take a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Moving to 12.2, this is an amendment of board action. This is an appointment that was being corrected. It's a recommended Board of Trustees approve the amendment of previous board action, amending the board action on February 23rd, 2022 to correct the College Oversight Commission member title, Dr. Erica Jaquez, as previously submitted due to a clerical error. The title was listed as local business community member instead of the correct title, community member at large. And so attached is a copy of her biography, and we'll need to take an action on this.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Zia, second by Trustee Baxter. Any discussion on the repair of the clerical item? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it, and the amendment is adopted. Section 13, 13.1, no items for student services. We now move into reports. Section 14, Board of Trustees, 5-minute report. Anybody want to do rock, paper, scissors to go first tonight? Ooh, Dr. Baxter's looking at me. She wants to go.
I'm giving him the evil eye.
You gave me the evil eye. Go ahead, Dr. Baxter.
Okay, and I'm going to be fast because many people know that I've been in Africa from August 3rd to last night. And I'm so glad this board meeting is going on because I was ready to put toothpicks under my eyes and now I don't have to. Anyway, so I have a very brief report. First, the photo, please, Dario. Today at the Rotary Club meeting, this beautiful young lady, her name is Jessica Castellon, she received the Don Cochran Scholarship. She's a graduate of Reed High School and had a wonderful story of how she turned her life around and will now be at LBCC starting on Monday. And I just wanted a picture with her, and I was so proud of our institution. Don Cochran is on foundation board and also on the homeless task force, and he and his wife set up a scholarship to help Long Beach City College students who live in the 90805 or 90810 zip code. And so Jennifer, welcome to LBCC, and I know you're going to be a superstar. Secondly, and I don't have any more photos, if you want to have people keep looking at me, that's fine. Oh, good, Dario, thank you. I wanted to invite people that on Saturday, from 4 to 7 this Saturday, the Lakewood Village Neighborhood Association, of which I'm on the board, is presenting Endless Summer. There's going to be music. There's going to be a jumping thing. You need to bring, except that you also got the Jazz Festival, so you're a busy guy. Anyway, there's going to be food truck, and so it's just a way for the Lakewood Village Neighborhood Association to get people together and enjoy the end of the summer. So that's Saturday, and then I want to encourage the board members and also the public to attend the Helping Homeless Students fundraiser, which is Sunday, September 18th from 3:30 to 5. It's going to be in the horticulture garden. And Cece, if I could have a couple of those pictures sent to me. We're having a homeless meeting Monday night, and half of the members of our committee are not on campus, and I think I'd love to show them how beautiful our horticulture department is, the gardens are. And so just, if you would, please send me that. And I'm so proud of what we're doing for the homeless, and also what the college is doing for the homeless students. And it was interesting on this Africa trip, we were talking about homeless, and this man, who will be nameless, doesn't live in Long Beach, said 99% of the people who are homeless are drug addicts. That is so, the people jumped on him immediately because it's so untrue. Every day we meet young people, old people, all kinds of people trying to get their life around, and all they need is a little help. And we're there to help them. The college is there to help them with all these wonderful services. And we want to erase that misconception that all unhoused people are drug addicts. It's absolutely not true. And believe it or not, that's the end of my report.
Extra 1 minute, 30 seconds. Vice President Chico.
I yield to Vice President Chico.
Thank you, Trustee Baxter, especially for asserting that and reminding people that there's a lot of stories and experiences behind people's circumstances for being unsheltered, and it's really important to hear. So thank you for clarifying that and always speaking up to it. I wanted to. I wasn't in the picture, but I did attend the Latino Economic Impact Report that was held here with Centro Cha and Cal State Long Beach, and was honored to be asked to provide the welcoming remarks. I was actually on the first cohort of the Latino Economic Impact Report back in 2017, I think it was, when we started. And it's really important. The information that they're providing is critical to the work that we're doing here at LBCC, ensuring that we're reaching out to a lot of the vulnerable communities, providing them with assistance in education, career path, to help change those numbers with the economic impact of Latinos here in Long Beach. So we were really happy to have them here. I also attended the YMCA sponsor appreciation dinner, ran into Dr. Munoz and Dr. Carmichael, and you know, our work never stops. It doesn't matter. I'll be at a gala and I'm working. It's just part of my job and part of my desire to help people, I guess. And Dr. Munoz and Dr. Carmichael jumped in quickly to assist some YMCA youth that we found out needed some assistance in registering and getting other resources, basic needs resources, because the YMCA Community Development Branch that I'm on the board of, they serve the most vulnerable community in Midtown, West Side, and there aren't a lot of resources. So the fact that we've just strengthened that connection for those youth and their families to come here to Long Beach City College, thank you so much. That impact is just incredible, and they were thrilled. The youth were so excited. In fact, I got another email today asking for assistance from one of our YMCA youth, so I'm sending that over as well. So thank you for that. It's important that people know we're accessible. And then I want to congratulate George Plouffe from Cordoba Corporation. He's been getting a lot of recognition for his work. I think MOLA is going to recognize him with a Legacy Award in October, but he's also going to be featured on PBS on Monday night, just because he was honored this year with the Spirit Award by California Latino Caucus for Achievement in Business and Philanthropy. And for those of you who know George Plouffe, he is all about business and philanthropy and excels at both. And so just want to congratulate him on the good work that he's doing, not just in business, but for our community, our surrounding community. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Zia?
Thank you. I'll be brief as well. On August 17th, I had the great pleasure of attending Long Beach Unified School District's meeting for honoring the 50th anniversary of Title IX. Thank you, Dr. Baxter, Trustee Dr. Baxter, for arranging that, and school board member Diana Craig had led the effort, and I was particularly proud to be there as the co-president of AAUW, American Association of University Women, which we're supportive of in this district. I also wanted to just put out there, it was really inspiring to see their green initiative and commitment to ending reliance on fossil fuel. They had a resolution, and it was so amazing to see the leaders of tomorrow and today really are kids coming in, and they're truly inspiring. And I'd love to see that resolution be, we should model them at the district and have a similar resolution. This was led by President Megan Kerr. It was very impressive, and I want to give a huge congratulations to them, and I'm hopeful that we will follow suit and have something similar. We are very committed to sustainable practices in our construction. I know I am very much aware of that, but perhaps we can also make a commitment in the long term in ending our reliance on fossil fuel. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Trustee Malauulu.
Thank you, and happy last couple of days of summer. I hope you are squeezing the last bit of vacation out of these last few days in preparation for the new school year. Since we last met, the night of our last board meeting, I flew out to Branson, Missouri for ACCT annual board retreat. It was my first retreat, 3 jam-packed days of a lot of work and a lot of committee work, and getting to know some of the initiatives that ACCT will be working on. The most insightful experience for me of the entire weekend was working with rural community colleges and working with community colleges that serve populations that are not as diverse as ours. So it's one thing to attend conferences, it's another thing to sit through webinars and Zoom meetings, but it's an entirely different experience to sit at a table and go over intricacies such as budgets and enrollment and outreach and marketing with colleges that have to travel sometimes 200 miles to reach students and to get the students on campus, or colleges that when you walk their campus, everyone looks exactly the same. So I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it, because I feel that I grew not only as a trustee, but really as an educator, being able to put my finger on the pulse of what the rest of the country has to deal with in ways that I've never had to do before. So it was a really good retreat for me. On a sad note, the board chair, Judge Kersey, as we know him because he really is a judge, his wife passed away shortly after the retreat. So I just want to extend our condolences to his beloved wife on behalf of our district. And both he and his wife have always supported community colleges throughout their careers. So it was very sad to come home and get that message. August 1st and 2nd, we were here on campus. It was my very first time at the CLAC, believe it or not. I think I walked it dozens of times when it was under construction. I sat and met with some of the planning phases, but I wasn't able to attend the open houses, and it was my first time there, and wow, just wow. Such a beautiful place, and I'm happy that the public is using it more than ever, and I can't wait for our students to, and I know they have been used by our students, but I can't wait for our students to get to using it regularly. The Latino Cultural Center Advisory Board started back up. We were on hiatus for some time. We've actually identified a location, and I'm really excited to be a part of that because it's a great mix of old Long Beach, new Long Beach, Latino leaders in the community, former council people and former board members of various boards. Again, I'm learning a lot. I consider myself new, young Long Beach. So I'm very appreciative of my colleagues on that board, and we are excited to be having kind of a little groundbreaking coming up. I'll tell you more about that. I continue to have ACCT public policy meetings. That's a committee I'm on for the next year. And on Saturday the 14th, that was probably the only fun I had with regard to LBCC, is I was at for the first time ever, Long Beach Jazz Festival, and I was very proud to have an LBCC table there. Thank you to our marketing team. And I got to hang out with Dr. Douglas and his lovely wife. My mom was my +1, and it was a ton of fun. So I became a Sergio Mendes fan. And then last week, I got to meet for the first time Dr. Frank Perez. Thank you to Vice President Melissa Infusino for organizing a meeting. We were able to hash out goals for the Labor Center, and I'm just really excited by the enthusiasm that they both have, really grateful for the ideas, and just can't wait. It is my understanding that LBCC will be participating in the LA Long Beach Harbor Coalition Labor Day Parade, and that the Labor Center will have a presence there at the parade and the picnic. So I'm excited about that because it's been 6 years since LBCC participated in the Labor Day Parade. So I'm really excited to be back there with the group of our House of Labor. And lastly, I can't wait to see you on Friday at College Day. Thank you. Oh, good deal.
Good, right on time there. Thank you for the report. I'll give a brief report as well. I just want to thank my colleagues again for our retreat we held August 1st and 2nd. It's an important time for us to dive into data, think about the upcoming year, meet our accreditation standards, hopefully team building. And also wanted to thank Dr. Munoz and the vice presidents who put a lot of work in to help make those two nights happen. So thank you to everyone for that. Two things. I was able to attend the SBDC reception for the Black Business alumni. Our groups had folks have gone through the trainings. That was a really nice networking event in downtown. Do want to remind people, October 31st, there was a big announcement today about student loan forgiveness. $10,000 to $20,000, depending if you were a Pell Grant recipient or not. And then how much you make, it's income based, so $125,000 or less. There is another opportunity to reduce your student debt, and I don't know if any of the vice presidents still have student debt. I know I do. There's the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. The deadline is October 31st. If you still have outstanding loans and you've made 120 payments, there's a special waiver right now that will make the payments that you made that were not eligible. And if you made 120 payments already, potentially could forgive your entire debt. But if it's a portion of the 120 payments, then it'd be that percentage of your remaining student debt. So just for thinking about student debt, we do a great job, I think, of helping students cut student debt by coming here for half the cost, or way less than half the cost for 2 years. But just a reminder that those deadlines are coming up, and those opportunities are here, and they're unique. And I don't know if current students count for the $10,000, $20,000 debt elimination. We'll have to get some more information on that. I do want to thank Camille. She did a great job helping organize flowers today. Today was Bobby Smith's funeral. I'm wearing a pink bow. She was Alpha Kappa Alpha Incorporated Sorrow, and this they did a great service, and everybody got a pink ribbon today. And just wanted to talk about her in closing. She did work here for 20 years. She was a librarian. She was originally from Mississippi, did her master's in Chicago in library science. She was the first African American elected to the Long Beach Unified College Board. Great speeches given by Carl Cohen, the former superintendent. Sorry, what did I say? School board. Sorry. Wrong. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I meant school board. Sorry, I misspoke. Yeah, she was the first African American elected to the Long Beach Unified School Board in 1988. And it was just really great to hear the speeches about her life and her approach, and a reminder that she grew up in Jim Crow South, moved north, then came to California. If you know the migration history of African Americans in America, she lived that. And when she came here, Long Beach Unified, I didn't realize was an officially segregated school district, that whites and blacks could not go to school together here in Long Beach. And it's, she was very involved in the community before she got elected to the school board, including the NAACP that was fighting against redlining and housing discrimination. My district I represent, Bixby Knolls, was Green Line. They had covenants where they would not sell to African Americans, Latinos. And you think about where the black population is in Long Beach, that was the red line district of Central Long Beach. It was the only place you could live or you could buy when folks came and were working at the former Ford manufacturing plant we used to have here by the port. We used to have a tuna cannery. There was a lot of good paying jobs post the war, plus the naval base. But it was a really great, almost history through Long Beach of her role on the board, leading to the uniform program, welcoming President Clinton to Long Beach, getting recognized with the Top Urban School District Award, being in Sports Illustrated for all the scholar athletes from Poly. Someone was saying that she had the ability to stand for 4 hours in high heels and give diplomas to every graduate at Poly High School. I know we struggle with that with our our graduation. So, but it was just a great recognition today. Good turnout. Really want to recognize Bobby Smith. We did recognize her already in our minutes during the retreat when she first passed, but just want to share from today's service and experience and just recognize her. And I guess we could maybe have a moment of silence at the end. So, all right, and I got 7 seconds to go. We're moving to the next agenda item, 15.1, public comments on non-agenda items. Do we have any additional public comments, Secretary Reese?
No comments.
No additional comments. We will be going into a second closed session here when we adjourn in a moment. But prior to that, item 17.1, our next regular board meeting is September 14th, 2022. It's a Wednesday after Labor Day holiday. We're going to have closed session at 4:30, open session at 5:30. And if we can adjourn tonight with a moment of silence before we go into closed session for both Bobby Smith, who was 90 years old, and also we lost Vin Scully with the Dodgers. And so we have both of them tonight. So if everyone could take a moment of silence, please. Thank you so much. That adjourns tonight's meeting at 6:57. We're going into a second closed session. Thank you for joining us. Have a great evening. All right, are you ready? All right, we're reconvening now. It is 8:06 p.m. From our second closed session of the evening, agenda item 16. At this point, we have no reportable action from our remaining second closed session item. Again, the next meeting of the Board of Trustees will be held on September 14th, 2022, closed session at 4:30, open session at 5:30. This adjourns tonight's meeting at 8:07 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.